It is 8 p.m. and here are our top stories. A 63-year-old man killed while trying to break up a fight.
The gentleman said, "Back away," or something like that. And then after that, he just started firing.
Tonight, the city closing Lawmaker Park for the safety of the community.
No one deserves to die the way they did, the way he did.
It takes more than beginner's luck to get past the law.
It's pretty obvious that gambling is happening.
Denver 7 investigates adult gaming arcades, finding ways around Colorado's rigid betting rules.
And it appears like they're using a loophole.
Uneven, crumbling, or missing entirely.
An untold number of our sidewalks are in serious disrepair, presenting a safety hazard.
A plan to repair Denver sidewalks could have property owners paying more, but first, organizers will have to convince the voters.
Using sidewalks and using public transit should be seen as a legitimate and primary mode of transportation.
Good evening and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Micah Smith.
I'm Danny New. Denver says it has closed Alma Lincoln Park in Denver for the foreseeable future because of an uptick in violent crime there.
Late last night, a 63-year-old man was killed while trying to break up a fight in the park. Alma Lincoln Park is just southwest of Colfax and Spear. The city of Denver has now temporarily closed the park. Police do have a 24-year-old man in custody for that shooting.
Tonight, those close to the victim held a memorial in his honor, and Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us live. Colette?
Yeah, well, the city says the park has been closed. We have seen people coming and going. We've seen people playing basketball, walking their dogs. We have seen an uptick in the amount of police out here just within the last 30 minutes or so. But most of the people in this park tonight are here for this vigil that's going on still right behind me. People starting to trickle out, and just minutes ago, there was a balloon release in honor of the man who was killed here around this time last night. Family says the victim is Gary Ariano and that he was trying to break up a fight between two young girls when another man shot him several times. Friends say Ariano loved this park, spending a lot of time here, which is why he was here last night. We're told he was born and raised in Denver, and this was his community.
This was his home. This is where he grew up. This is where he lived. This is where he died.
Police say Ariano died at the hospital after the shooting. They've arrested a 24-year-old suspect, but have not released his identity of the man that they say was the suspect. Now tonight at Denver 7 at 10, you'll be hearing from a witness who says he saw this shooting happen. Live in Denver, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
Thank you, Colette. We look forward to that update. Police in Fort Collins are now looking for the parents of a 6-year-old boy who accidentally shot and killed himself earlier this month. Police say the boy's mother, Rosanetta McCall, left the handgun out in the open in her home off East Lincoln Avenue. She's being charged with child abuse and unlawful storage of a firearm. Police say her husband, Ron Matthews, lied to officers and tampered with evidence. Both parents have been missing for about a week. Police worry they may be on the run.
The Denver grand jury has indicted a man for allegedly stealing more than $1.5 million from two local charities. 43-year-old William Schwartz is facing 2 counts of theft and 1 count of money laundering. And to be specific, he's accused of stealing $1,548,000 between 2014 and 2019. Schwartz was arrested last week and is scheduled to be arraigned in June.
Gambling is legal in Colorado as long as casinos are located in one of 3 towns and follow very strict guidelines.
And the truth is, casino gambling is actually happening all over Colorado as operators find ways to get around the state's rigid betting rules. Here's Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kowaleski with more.
We're taking you inside so-called gray casinos as city after city tries to run them out of town. Denver 7 investigates went undercover at locations across the Denver metro. You're looking at that video. Each of these adult gaming arcades have a different way you pay to play. Some pay out in cryptocurrency, while others claim to offer cash for cash. But the question many are asking, is this legal? Which is why city leaders in both Aurora and Montrose are trying to better regulate these arcades.
Would you say these pay out better than the casinos?
Yeah.
It certainly looks, feels, and acts like a casino.
It is a challenge for law enforcement.
You can watch our full investigation into these gray casinos tonight on Denver 7 News at 10. We'll have much more on how police are also trying to tackle this and why there's push for action at the state capitol. I'm Denver 7 investigative reporter Jennifer Kowaleski.
And we spoke about this last night, but we now know equine influenza is being investigated as the cause for killing dozens of horses at a wild horse facility in Cannon City. Since the outbreak began on Saturday, the Bureau of Land Management says 95 horses have died. The horses are from the West Douglas area and were rounded up by the BLM last year. The BLM says that they are reviewing operations at the Cannon City location to prevent future outbreaks, and this outbreak is getting a lot of reaction online. We were sent dozens of emails from viewers weighing in on what should be done next. And if you want to see how people are feeling, we have a 360 look at some of those reactions right now on thedenverchannel.com.
Today, Moderna is asking for FDA emergency use authorization to administer its vaccine to children aged 6 months to 5 years old. Last month, Moderna announced positive data from 2 doses of its pediatric COVID-19 vaccine, claiming it generated a strong immune response with no significant risks, and it reduced the risk of symptomatic infection by up to 51%.
The number that we see here is actually exactly what we would see in adults as well at some time after their second dose. So it was completely expected. But that number is still really very positive. It means that you can reduce the risk of getting symptomatic COVID by about half. That's a big reduction.
If authorized by the FDA, it would be the first vaccine okayed for kids younger than 6.
Mayor Hancock declared this month Parkinson's Awareness Month, and today Governor Polis proclaimed it Parkinson's Awareness Day at the Capitol. And earlier this afternoon, multiple organizations were there to meet with legislators about a national initiative. So the event was sponsored by the Parkinson Association of the Rockies and then the Michael J. Fox Foundation as well. And they're trying to get all 50 states to join a federally funded national registry for Parkinson's so more data could be collected about the disease. Because as members were telling me today when I was there, the information that we have about people with Parkinson's in both Colorado and the country is pretty dated.
So in 2008, when I was diagnosed, there was 1 million people in the United States that had Parkinson's, so they thought, and 17,000 here in Colorado. Here it is 14 years later. There's still 1 million people and there's still only 17,000. That can't be right.
People are being diagnosed at a much younger age. This original data was collected back in 2017. But again, since that time, they're finding, a lot of patients that are a lot younger that do have Parkinson's. So I feel like that number could be significantly higher.
So far, 6 states have passed this bill to join the registry, and these organizations would like Colorado to join next year in 2023.
Almost half of the sidewalks in Denver are either missing or too narrow for those in wheelchairs. According to the Denver Street Partnership, that's not counting the sidewalks that are broken or damaged. The group says they're done waiting on the city to get them fixed. So now they're turning directly to voters, trying to get a new fee on the November ballot that would pay for a faster overhaul of Denver walkways. Denver 7's Rob Harris talked to the advocates behind this push and tells us what it would mean for homeowners.
Right now in Denver, individual homeowners and businesses are responsible for the sidewalks on their properties, and that's led to some wide disparities in their upkeep. This new movement is called Denver Deserves Sidewalks. The people behind it are pushing for a completely different approach, adding a new recurring fee for homeowners and businesses, and then in exchange, transferring the burden of upkeep back to the city. An average single-family household could expect a cost of about $100 per year or $9 per month, according to the Denver Streets Partnership. If they can get enough signatures, it'll be up to voters to decide in November. Nika Caves lived in Denver off and on her whole life, and the entire time, she's relied on the sidewalks.
I use a variety of mobility aids, but yes, I've been disabled my whole life. It's my lived experience using the sidewalks as my primary pathway to get where I need to go.
According to the city of Denver, 40% of the sidewalks are either missing or too narrow citywide, 47% in low-income areas.
You see a lot more just unmaintained sidewalks, missing sidewalks, especially around transit stops, which is something that I depend on as a pedestrian. And a lot of disabled people as well depend on public transportations.
At current funding levels, it would take about 400 years to build, widen, and fix the sidewalks of Denver, according to city documents. The folks behind Denver Deserves Sidewalks want to see the project done in their lifetime, so they're calling for it to be finished in 9 years, made possible through this extra public funding.
I've been working on this issue for 7 years, and I've talked to so many people who feel like sidewalks are the foundation of a complete transportation system, and we should be publicly funding sidewalks, just like we publicly fund the streets. That's how we're going to create a more fair and equitable and safe community for everybody.
They might not have any signatures yet, but they have plenty of attention online. This TikTok account alone has millions of likes and views, all on the topic of Denver sidewalks and the inequality they can bring for those with different mobility.
Driving a car is seen as the primary mode of transportation, and for many of us like myself, that is not the case. And we need our sidewalks to be prioritized just as much as we prioritize the streets.
Denver Deserves Sidewalks has received clearance from the city to start collecting signatures. They'll need almost 10,000 by July 5th to make it on the ballot. And we want to know what you think, so email us at 360@thedenverchannel.com. For Denver 7, I'm Rob Harris.
Coming up on Denver 7 News at 8, less than 2 weeks left and hundreds of bills to go.
I think the last 2 weeks are going to be a sprint.
We look at the top priorities for state lawmakers.
We do have a lot of great work that we need to get done, and I'm hoping that we can come together in bipartisan ways.
And President Biden taking another look at a campaign promise.
I am considering dealing with some debt reduction.
Canceling some student debt, still on the table, but not as much as Democrats hope.
We had a nice, warm, beautiful day today. Windy and colder weather comes in with a cold front tomorrow.